again, it's your girl Amina Farota. You're welcome to my YouTube channel, Creeps and Killers with Amina Farota. If you are just joining us for the first time, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for staying with me. So, today's story. Now, in the state of Missouri in the United States, there's a small town. This town is called Independence. And in this Independence, now we are in the late 1940s. There was a very, very young lady. Her name is Sharon Kinne. Sharon Kinne was born in the late 1940s. And at this time, she was, this is 1956. She's 16 years old. And she's 16 years old, she's just in the town, and her dream was to leave this small town, to live in a big city. She wanted to be rich, she wanted to live in this big city. So there was this young boy, his name was James, and James was a student of the Brigham Young University. So he came home for holiday, and then he met Sharon. And when he met Sharon, James was a Mormon. So Sharon met James, and they were together. Then he went back after the holiday. They started dating. He was attracted to her. She was attracted to him too. And then he went back to school. So just a month after going back to school, he gets a mail from Sharon. Then after reading this mail, he found out that Sharon had sent him a mail that she is pregnant. Now, James being a Mormon, you know what that means. So this shouldn't get out. And so they thought the best thing to do was to get married. So 1956, the same year, they got married. Now, months later, after getting married, she had a miscarriage. So after this miscarriage, they moved out. After getting married, they moved out from the state of Independence and they moved to Utah. When they got to Utah now, Sharon is like her dreams are becoming clearer. She has left the town of Independence. When they started living together there, then in 1957 she was pregnant again, and then she gave birth to the child's name was Dana Kinne. So after they got married, after the birth of this child, they were living together. Things seemed not to be getting on too well between the two. And then James decided that the best thing to do was to drop out of school. He dropped out of school. Then when he dropped out of school, they were trying to make ends meet. So they had to move back to Independence. Now Sharon was devastated. When they got back to Independence, she wasn't happy, and then they started having issues. And at one point, James started cheating on her. And then unknown to him, he was cheating on her with one of his past lover. While Sharon also had a past lover, she was also cheating on James as well. So while the two were going on with this, then they had in 1957 they had their second child. When they had the second child, things were not just going on smoothly with them. And then Sharon decided to suggest to her husband James. She told James that she would agree to a divorce if James would give her the house, $1,000 cash, and then she would take custody of the two kids. Now James went to his parents, and then he told them that they want a divorce. Sharon will settle for $1,000, the house, and then custody of the two kids. So the parents said no, they disagree with this, and then they told them that the best thing was for them to work things out. Work it out, they hear me. So he went back to her, and then he said, babe, make we no divorce, so make we try and work this thing out. So she wasn't happy. Now, 1959, on this date was in April, she went into the bathroom. She wanted to bathe and get ready for church service that evening. But James was a bit tired, so he just wanted to take a short nap so that he just will get back up so that he can go with her to the church. So she said she was in the bathroom, and then she heard the little daughter. Now the daughter, she's 2 years old. So she heard the 2-year-old ask the dad, how does this thing works? And then immediately after that, she heard a bang. So when she heard it, she ran out of the bathroom, and then she saw James lying in bed. He was bleeding from his head. So the cops came. She called them. They came and they were questioning. He was shot at the back of his head. So obviously, he couldn't have done that himself. So she said it was the 2-year-old child. So both her and the child, because they were the only children, the 2-year-old was the only one that was in the room with the dad. So 25-year-old James died. So they started questioning. Now, they didn't test the hands of the little girl or Sharon as well for anything gone rescue, because they felt the family was already traumatized. They just thought it was just too much. They had to just let it go. So James was buried, And then there was the investigator that was in charge of this case thought, how possible is it that can a 2-year-old child actually pull the trigger? So they took in this 2-year-old again for investigation. They wanted for questioning rather. So she was taken in, and then they put the same gun on the desk, and then she was sitting there during the questioning, and then she actually went to the gun. She picked it up, but she did not pull the trigger on 3 different occasions. So the investigator later came up with he just said, maybe just perhaps James was lying in bed, and then the 2 years old must have walked up to the dad, asked the dad actually how it worked, like she said, and then he showed her, and then she probably with maybe the pressure on the bed because of the dad's weight and all of that, probably the gun went off. Nobody knows. So that was how it ended. And then later on, it was found out that James had insurance policy, life insurance policy, and this life insurance policy was worth $250,000. And the beneficiary of this life insurance policy was, yes, Sharon. So Sharon, just a month later, she went to the bank and then she withdrew this money. And when she got this money, the first thing she did, she went to the car stand. She got her dream car. So after getting the dream car, now the man that was selling this, the person that was selling this car, his name was Walt. And this Walt Jones, he was 23-year-old. They eventually started dating. She was dating this man. A month after dating this man made a police report. His wife was missing. His wife's name is Patricia. So she was missing, and they started trying to, this was in 1961. So they started like, what happened? He said he had an argument with his wife, and after the argument, she left the house, or he left the house rather, but she hadn't returned, and it was 2 days now. So they started investigating this. And then Walt decided to pick up his phone and call Sharon. He called Sharon and was like, Sharon, Patricia, was that you? Did you go up to Patricia? What's up? And then she said yes. She said she went to Patricia, and then she told Patricia that her sister, whom we do not know about, we don't know whether she's a sister, but she told Patricia that her elder sister was having an affair with Walt. And then she called her out. She said they should just like go on. They were driving around town, and she said they were discussing about it. And then when they discussed about this affair, she brought her like a few blocks away from her house. She dropped her a few blocks away from the house, and then she left. So that was it. That she had nothing to do with the murder. So as far as we know, that was what she told Walt. And then the cops kept investigating these things. Then few days later, a man named John Blades calls the cops. He said he had found a body. He found a body in this Independence town in a small abandoned farm. And then when they got to the place, it was Patricia's body. The body was taken into court, but they made a mistake. They did not conduct an autopsy for her. So they just took her and discovered that yes, she was the murder weapon was a .22 caliber pistol. Meanwhile, the one that was used in the murder of James, her husband, was taken into custody. Police never returned it to her. So she was murdered with a .22 caliber pistol. And then after this, then the cops, the first suspect was John Blades, the man that found the body. Like, how did you find this body? He said he told them that he was in the woods, like he was searching for something. Like, what were you searching for? Like, pressure was on him. Pressure was applied. So he decided to confess. He told them that his girlfriend said they should just go into the wood, go to this abandoned farm and search for the body of Patricia. Now, who is the girlfriend? Sharon. Who else? Sharon was the girlfriend. So she asked him to come with her to the bush and search for this body. So when he confessed, Sharon said no, that she had nothing to do with this. So she was trying to like pin the murder on him. And then when they kept questioning him, then John Blades confessed that there was a time Sharon had asked him, because John Blades was the ex-boyfriend she was cheating on her late husband with. So he said there was a time she approached him and then she asked if he could kill her husband for $1,000, and he said no. And then he asked him, do you know anyone who can do it? So he eventually he was a witness, like he gave the police information they needed. Now, in that state, at that time, they had this double jeopardy law. What this means is that you cannot be tried twice for that particular crime. So she couldn't be held responsible at this time. She was already acquitted. So when they went to Sharon's home, they decided to search the home. Searching the home, they found a gun box. Now this gun box was the box was for a .22 caliber pistol, but the gun was missing from the box. So when she said she got the gun as a replacement for the one that was used to murder her husband, because the cops took that into custody. That was why she got it. And then they asked her, where is this current one? She said she can't find it, that she lost it like 2 days after she bought it. So that was what she told them. So eventually this case, it's just so because the murder weapon could not be found, when she was charged to court for the murder of her husband and the murder of Patricia. Now, as for the murder of Patricia, her defense lawyers, they just focused on, they said the cops just the state built this case against her based on the gun box they have found in the house. Meanwhile, the murder weapon was still missing. So it's possible that she actually got this gun and then she misplaced it a few days after. So because of this, she was acquitted of the trial. So she had to. Then for Patricia's case, they said there is no autopsy was conducted, so she was free. Meanwhile, for her husband's case, they still needed to find the murder weapon since John Blades has come up to like testify against her. So they still needed further investigation. So when she was bailed, she had to still keep going to court. Then she appealed. She was actually sent to jail initially. She was sent to jail. She was charged. She was sent to 10 years in prison, but she ended up spending 18 months. And then when she got out, she went for a second trial. The second trial ended in a mistrial, and then the third one they had a hung jury. Now, a hung jury is a jury that is unable to reach a verdict. So because they couldn't reach this verdict, she was supposed to be under probation, but in that same year, 1962, she got missing. She went away. So they started looking for her. Sharon, no one has heard for her because she had a pending court case against her. So she wasn't found. She decided. Then she showed up in Mexico in the same year. I think March 19th of the same year. She showed up in Mexico. She was facing trial for the murder of a man, one Frederick Paredes. So when she got to Mexico, she eloped. She left the 2 kids with her in-laws. Then she eloped to Mexico with a new boyfriend of hers. Then she said that they went to Mexico for their marriage. That was what they told the cops. So when she was there, she shot a hotel clerk. And before that, she murdered someone. She said she was at a bar. She was drinking. And when she was drinking, this man came up to her. He bought her a glass. And then he said he invited her to come over to his hotel room and just spend the night with them. And then 3 a.m. that night, they heard a gunshot in the room. And then when the hotel clerk ran into the room, he saw Sharon, like in the bathroom, counting amount of money. And the man, there was blood everywhere. The man was dead already. Frederick Paredes was on the bed, lying on the bed dead. And then Sharon was in the bathroom counting money. And then immediately Sharon knew that someone was inside the room, and then she fired the gun. So when she fired the gun, he was hit in the hand. It wasn't in his arm, but it was still okay. So he ran out of the room. And then Sharon tried to escape, but she was caught. So they built up the case against her, all evidences presented, and then she was sentenced to 10 years in prison. When she was sentenced to 10 years in prison, she decided to appeal the case because she said she did it for self-defense, that she shot him, she murdered him. It was self-defense, that she didn't intend to kill him. So that was why she was facing 10 years. And then when she appealed the court case, the jury found out that probably they were too lenient on her. No, a mistake had been made. So it's the appeal now. After the appeal, finally she was now sentenced to 13 years instead of the 10 years initially. So she spent 13 years in prison. She came out. When she came out, she was deported back to the United States. She was to face trial. The trial she was supposed to face for the murder of her husband. Now when she came back to the United States, this is 1970 now, 13 years will just be like half of it. That's how she's supposed to spend it in. That's how these things work. So she was supposed to face trial for her husband's case, so she was in jail. So when she was in the cell rather. When she was in the cell, then on the 23rd of April, That's 1970. There was an alarm. Sharon had escaped from the prison, and then there was no way this woman could escape from the prison without the help of everyone. So the wardens, everyone on duty, they were questioned, but nothing ever came up. Like nobody assisted in her. It's been 52 years now since Sharon escaped from prison. Like no one knows her whereabouts. Nobody, like no one knew how she was able to escape. So that's it for me today, guys, on Sharon Kinne. Tell me what you think about this woman, her disappearance from home. So she didn't move.